All right, so remember, we're still talking about the innate immune system here. And remember, your white blood cells are part of the second line of defense. And this is still, non-specific. All right? And in terms of those white blood cells, they have the ability to undergo a process known as diapedesis. And I'll put this in a different color. Diapedesis means those white blood cells can leave a blood vessel. So essentially what they do is they can wiggle out of that blood vessel and get into the tissue they need to in order to fight off a particular pathogen, okay? So because those white blood cells have the ability to undergo diapedesis, they can leave the blood vessel, which means white blood cells in your body aren't only found within the blood, okay? They're also found in the extracellular fluid. They're found in tissue. But more importantly, they're going to be circulating through the lymphatic system, okay? And in terms of the lymphatic system, if you've taken A&P, you've probably heard a little bit about the lymphatic system. Mainly what the lymphatic system does, it's got two real big jobs within the body. One, the lymphatic system essentially reabsorbs the fluid that is lost from the blood vessels when it goes through those capillary beds. Because those capillary beds have some different sized openings. Some of them are a little bigger, the fluid leaks out. You don't want to lose blood volume over time because that would be bad overall. So in terms of the lymphatic system, one of its main purposes is to return fluid from extracellular space back to the circulatory system. So the lymphatic system, really the vessels that make up the lymphatic system are similar to your veins, okay? They have valves. They work essentially to get the fluid pumped back to the heart. Also relies on your muscular system to pump it to get it back to the heart. That lymphatic system will reconnect with the vena cava and return the fluid that was lost to circulation, all right? As part of that, the white blood cells that are lost in the extracellular fluid will also circulate through the lymphatic system, all right? One of the components of the lymphatic system are lymph nodes, all right? When you go to the doctor, right, they feel in and around your neck. They're feeling for lymph nodes there, all right? If you happen to have an active bacterial infection, those lymph nodes, when that doctor or that nurse practitioner or the nurse, whoever goes poking around, feels those are going to be a little bit tender for you. Because what ends up happening is when you have an infection, those white blood cells that we just finished talking about, the lymph system is one place where those are going to kind of hang out and be, because they're monitoring the fluid that goes through the lymph system looking for foreign pathogens, all right? So in terms of that, the lymph system kind of represents a collection area for the white blood cells. And in terms of that, that's why when they poke around, they're looking to feel for those lymph cells there, all right? You can also have, in terms of that lymph tissue, that can also become cancerous. So if you feel around and you feel a lump, but it's not painful, that can be an indication of lymphatic cancer, all right? In that case, the tissue associated with the lymph node is growing out of control, all right? That's kind of tangential to what we're talking about, but in terms of the lymphatic system, this is going to be one important component of your innate immune system as well, because those white blood cells that make up the second line of defense, that's kind of where they live, all right? And in terms of the lymphatic system, the other component of the lymphatic system, so in terms of that, I talked about the lymph nodes. We'll kind of put this in quotes. We'll call that a home for some of our white blood cells. And they monitor for pathogens there. All right. The other tissue that's part of the lymphatic system that's going to be important with the immune system, and really where this one is going to become important will be more with chapter 17, but I'm going to kind of introduce it here because I'm talking about the lymphatic system. I will remind you about this when we get to chapter 17, okay? The thymus, all right, is going to be the tissue that our T cells are going to mature in, okay? And that's why they're called T cells, because they mature within the thymus, okay? The B cells that I brought up in the previous video, we'll talk more specifically about that again, chapter 17. But B cells mature within the bone marrow, all right? That's why they're called B cells. So in terms of the immune system, the lymphatic system from anatomy and physiology, this is going to be the one that's going to play the biggest role in the immune system, okay? Because it interacts with the white blood cells, all right? So I want you to be aware of that. If you have any questions, please let me know.